There's a place beyond fear and fantasy, where celluloid and shadow make the impossible real. This place is called Exterior, Los Angeles. Tonight's story is about the dream of an over-the-hill actress with one last shot at an enduring legacy. It is titled An Occurrence at the Academy Awards, and it was written by me, Greg Karber. Each time she attended the Academy Awards, Susan Roth sat farther from the stage. This time, even though she was nominated, she was sitting square in the middle of the back row, the farthest possible seat from the stage. So when George Clooney came out to present the award for Best Actress, she knew exactly what was going to happen. Clooney would read off the list of nominees, and when he was finished, he would open the envelope, pull out a card, and declare Meryl Streep the winner. Fucking Meryl Streep, Susan thought. Everybody fucking loves Meryl Streep. And when it happened, Susan would pretend to be happy. She would smile and applaud and endure this unending ritual of Meryl appreciation. And later that night, she would return to an empty, rented home and fall asleep alone on a queen-sized bed. When she awoke, nothing would be different. Just another over-the-hill actress with a few nominations but no major awards. Back to the grind of portraying dying geriatrics in police procedurals, attending D-list fundraisers for Homes for Dogs, her pet charity, watching the days turn into years until she was completely forgotten and then died in obscurity. Meryl Streep was not her fellow nominee. She was her executioner. And fuck George Clooney too, Susan thought. When men get older, they only get more acclaimed. Men have a life past 50. Men and Meryl Streep. Clooney finished the list, and Susan Roth's stomach sunk like Mel Gibson's career. She wished she could close her eyes and picture a happier place. But the cameras were watching, and she had to pretend. Clooney opened the envelope, pulled out the card, leaned into the microphone, and... "Susan Roth," he declared. The audience erupted into cheers. Every head turned towards Susan. She was suddenly the most famous person in the room, and she stood without quite understanding what was going on. She made her way to the front, baffled by the smiling faces, the pats on the back, the thumbs up from Jack Nicholson. She stepped onto the stage and tried to shake George Clooney's hand, but he hugged her instead and whispered in her ear that her performance had been amazing. Before she could respond, an assistant put an Oscar in her hand. It was heavier than she imagined it would be, more substantial, more real. Still, though, she couldn't believe it, and she said into the microphone, "But Meryl was nominated." The audience loved her immediately, and as she spoke, their love for her grew. She thanked everyone who needed thanking, her agent, her fellow nominees, the VFX company that worked on her movie, and even though her speech ran a little long, they didn't try to play her off. And the night only got better from there. She went to the biggest parties, hung with the biggest stars, and ended up crashing in the guest bedroom of Robert Downey Jr.'s Malibu beach house. The next day, online polls said her speech was the best of the night. For the first time in history, Jezebel and the Drudge Report agreed. They both thought she was amazing. Redditors began to debate which character she should play in which upcoming superhero tentpole. The offers flooded in. Prestige pictures with enormous paychecks. Front end, back end, middle end. So much money that her agent dropped his other clients. But that wasn't even the best part. The best part was that, after meeting at the Academy Awards, Susan Roth and George Clooney struck up a friendship. And that friendship soon turned romantic. And when the tabloids asked, "Is Clooney finally settling down?" Susan bought a copy and flipped eagerly to the article and confirmed that yes, anonymous sources close to the star claim he plans to pop the question soon, and that the couple could not be more excited. So that night, when George Clooney drove Susan Roth to a lookout on Mulholland Drive, she was waiting for the moment. Though they had a view of the entire city, she couldn't keep her eyes off Clooney. After several excruciatingly slow minutes of waiting, he dropped to one knee, reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a small jewelry box, opened it, and said, "Meryl Streep, And Meryl rose and smiled her famous Meryl smile as she walked to the stage to accept her Academy Award, while Susan watched from the back, pretending to be happy. While the particulars of this episode may be fictional, the story itself is not. For even in the land of celluloid and shadow, the mind is the most powerful illusion. And no matter how big your dreams, there's no escaping your destiny in this place called Exterior, Los Angeles. Check out our website, EXT.LA, for a new episode every Wednesday at 7:06 Los Angeles time. Next week's story is about guilt and celebrity. It is titled Flashes of Light, and it could have only been written by Levin Minikshay. I hope you'll join us.